Your roadmap to the latest in auto? Welcome to Highway Herald. Global trade is in overdrive, not with weapons, but with tariffs, deals, and power plays. U.S. protectionism is fueling trade wars, while Europe fortifies its economic defenses. These high-stakes moves ripple through every sector, especially the auto industry. Buckle up as we dive into 7 pivotal chapters shaping this global shift. It's a high-octane ride filled with twists, turns, and game-changing decisions. Number 7. The Arctic Power Play. U.S. eyes Greenland's strategic edge. The U.S., under President Trump, made a bold move by proposing to purchase Greenland, sending shockwaves across Europe. But this isn't just about land. It's about military power, trade routes, and untapped natural resources. With Arctic ice melting and new shipping lanes opening, Greenland's strategic value has soared. The U.S. views it as a gateway to global energy dominance, while Denmark is reinforcing its defenses, deploying naval forces and surveillance systems to protect its sovereignty. Greenland's leadership remains firm, welcoming economic partnerships but rejecting external control. Meanwhile, European nations are rallying to secure their influence in the Arctic. At stake? Control over vital trade routes and the region's rich energy reserves. This geopolitical tug-of-war is more than territorial. It's a battle for the future of global logistics and energy supremacy. Number 6. Tariff wars. America's protectionist gamble and its fallout. Trade wars extend beyond boardrooms, impacting factories, dealerships, and car buyers. President Trump's aggressive tariffs, meant to boost domestic production, have instead triggered an economic standoff with global repercussions. By raising tariffs on key imports like semiconductors and raw materials, the administration aimed to strengthen U.S. industries. However, automakers now face skyrocketing costs, supply chain disruptions, and potential factory shutdowns. Other nations aren't backing down. China, Canada, and Mexico are forming alliances to counteract U.S. measures. Since global economies are deeply interconnected, tariff hikes don't just affect one country. They create a ripple effect, destabilizing prices, trade deals, and markets worldwide. While protectionism aims to shield American industry, it risks isolating the U.S. instead. Will this strategy bring long-term success, or will it backfire and weaken economic ties? Number 5. Canada fires back, countering U.S. tariffs with economic resilience. For decades, Canada and the U.S. shared a strong trade partnership, but a 25% tariff on Canadian imports changed everything. Rather than accepting the economic blow, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took action, rallying allies and reshaping North American trade dynamics. Canada isn't just retaliating, it's rethinking its economic future. Strengthening ties with the EU, Mexico, and other partners, policymakers are actively reducing reliance on the U.S. Foreign Minister Melanie Joly is even pushing for an international summit to challenge unfair trade policies. The deeply integrated North American supply chain, particularly in the auto sector, faces disruptions that impact manufacturers, dealerships, and consumers alike. But Canada isn't backing down. With new trade deals emerging and industries fortifying their positions, the country is proving that economic resilience is the best defense against uncertainty. Before we delve deeper, we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to Highway Herald. Your support fuels our passion to create more content like this. Now let's explore number 4, Europe's answer to U.S. tariffs, strategic trade alliances. While Canada fights tariffs, Europe is taking a strategic approach, fortifying its economy through trade diversification. Rather than reacting to U.S. protectionism, the EU is securing new partnerships to reduce reliance on American markets. A key move? Strengthening ties with Mexico. The updated EU-Mexico agreement removes tariffs on automotive and agricultural goods. Meanwhile, the EU is finalizing a major free trade deal with the Mercosur bloc, Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, forming one of the world's largest trade zones. Beyond trade, Europe is prioritizing supply chain independence. The recent semiconductor shortage highlighted the need for local production, pushing manufacturers to secure alternative sources for key materials. By building resilience and innovation into its economy, the EU is proving that long-term strategy will outlast short-term protectionism, securing its role as a global trade leader. Number 3. Trade wars and power shifts. The EU's game-changing deals with Mexico and Mercosur. As the U.S. tightens trade restrictions, the EU is striking back with bold economic moves, securing key trade deals with Mexico and the Mercosur bloc. These agreements signal Europe's intent to break free from U.S. protectionist policies and take control of its economic future. The EU-Mexico Pact, finalized on January 17, 2025, removes tariffs on European exports. boosting access to North American markets. Meanwhile, the long-awaited EU-Mercosur agreement, covering 700 million people, creates one of the largest free trade zones, benefiting industries like automotive, chemicals, and agriculture. Despite concerns from European farmers and environmentalists, these deals mark a significant shift in global trade. By reducing reliance on the US, the EU is fostering economic diversification and resilience, positioning itself as a dominant force in the evolving world economy. Number 2. Transatlantic tensions, rewriting the US-Europe trade playbook. The US-Europe economic alliance has long been a powerhouse, forged through the Marshall Plan, NATO, and Cold War cooperation. American investment helped rebuild Europe, creating a mutually beneficial partnership. But times have changed. Recent US protectionist policies, tariffs, abandoned trade deals, and unilateral decisions have strained this once solid relationship. The US, once a champion of globalization, is now erecting trade barriers, prompting Europe to rethink its approach. This shift is already reshaping policies. European nations are diversifying trade partnerships, strengthening ties with Mexico, Mercosur, and Asia-Pacific markets. The auto industry, once heavily reliant on US exports, is now exploring alternative markets to navigate tariffs and production costs. Europe is no longer waiting for Washington's lead. With global competition intensifying, it's charting its own economic course, ensuring resilience in an evolving trade landscape. Number 1. Retaliation and resilience, the future of global trade. The global trade landscape is shifting fast. What began as a US strategy to protect domestic industry has triggered an economic realignment. Countries once reliant on American trade policies are pushing back, restructuring supply chains, and forging new alliances to safeguard their economies. One major battleground, the automotive industry. Tariffs on key components like semiconductors and rare earth metals have disrupted production, forcing manufacturers to find alternative suppliers and invest in local sourcing. This shift is accelerating innovation, particularly in EV and next-gen vehicle manufacturing. Meanwhile, nations like Canada and the EU are responding decisively, signaling the end of one-sided trade dominance. A more decentralized, cooperative global economy is taking shape. As the world's economic engine shifts gears, will these new alliances last? Or will US protectionism lead to further isolation? Final thoughts. The road ahead for global trade. One thing is clear. The battle for economic supremacy is far from over. We're standing at a crossroads where every policy shift, every new trade deal, and every retaliatory measure reshapes the global landscape. For the automotive industry, this could mean massive changes in supply chains, production strategies, and even the vehicles we see on the road in the coming years. So, what do you think? Are we witnessing the rise of a new global trade order? Or is this just another cycle of economic tug-of-war? How do you think these shifts will impact the auto industry, and which trade partnerships do you see shaping the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Highway Herald for the latest updates on the automotive world, trade developments, and everything that keeps the industry in motion. Stay tuned, because there's plenty more to explore in the world of cars, commerce, and cutting-edge innovation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.